I've actually done that. I've been like, you don't like comics, but you'll love JL8. Like, I've given it to people.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's definitely probably one of the highest compliments is when people like leave a message on the Facebook page and they're like, I don't really like comics, but like I really like JL8.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Frank Duran with Real Books Don't Have Batman podcast, and I'm sitting across from Yale Stewart, the artist of JL8. Starting off, how did you start JL8? What happened that led to its creation?
Boredom.
Yeah.
I was basically working one summer in, I guess it would have been 2011, and the idea kind of just came to me, and it seemed like a good one. So I decided to go home and draw the first strip. I showed it to some friends of mine on Facebook or maybe even like through a picture text message, and got a pretty positive response. And I had a couple other ideas, and banged those out. And then eventually somebody talked me into, I guess my buddy Trad talked me into posting it on Tumblr. And the rest is history, I guess.
JL8, it started off with just Batman and Superman starting off. How did you decide to assemble the team with like Power Girl and Martian Manhunter? Is it influenced by anything, or was it just kind of like those were the obvious choices for your main characters?
Well, I had the cast set before I even started the strip. I mean, Martian Manhunter has always been a part of the Justice League. Really, the only reason I brought in Power Girl is to have an extra female character, because the original Justice League is just a bunch of dudes and Wonder Woman, and I thought that would be kind of, honestly, just boring.
Yeah.
Especially because the stories aren't just like beating up bad guys; they're more character driven. So just a bunch of guys sitting around. Like most groups of friends don't even have that many. I mean, 6 is kind of pushing it.
Yeah.
But usually my groups of friends are more like the 4 to 5 friend range, and even then some of the personalities might be a little redundant. So I thought it'd be better to swap out Aquaman.
Yeah.
And have a female in there.
So what influences JL8 the most? Is it
probably Arthur?
Yeah.
Arthur, the Mark Brown books and the PBS Kids show, because I grew up really enjoying that show, and it's essentially the same thing as JL8. It's just a bunch of 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds making their way through life, doing their thing, and hijinks tend to ensue. It's that, and, like Peanuts.
Yeah.
Maybe Calvin and Hobbes.
Love Calvin and Hobbes.
Everybody loves Calvin and Hobbes.
So we had the question yesterday because we bought the We Will Be Giants print. Have you ever drawn your JL8 characters as adults?
I have, actually. I did it once on jury duty because I was bored. But yeah, I don't.
What's different about them? Like, was it weird to transition your small characters to being normal? Air quotation.
Yeah, it kind of was, because like they don't really look like young versions of the way I would traditionally draw Batman and Superman. So I kind of had to think of like, what would these character designs look like 20 years from now?
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting to realize how different they look from like the Bruce Timm designs, which is essentially how I would normally draw either of those characters.
That's super cool.
So yeah.
Do you have a character to write or draw or both? One you enjoy the most, if any?
That's a really good question. I will say I really do have a soft spot for Karen.
Yeah.
not to draw. She's really hard to draw. But she is fun to just kind of like brainstorm about, because she's the one that I'm probably like the least familiar with, and as such, I feel like I have the most room to kind of put my own little stamp on her. Actually, Diana's really fun to draw. I really like drawing that big fat curl that like hangs in front of her face. But I'm happy with her design. I'm also really happy that other people are really happy with her design. Because most people appreciate the fact that I tried to make her look Greek,
Yeah,
which was really important to me. So yeah, I guess I'm. Oh, this is great. I'm most fond of 2 8-year-old girls. But no, Karen and Diana, I really do like writing them and drawing them quite a bit.
That's cool.
They're just super cute too. It's hard not to like drawing like their little boots.
So do you consider yourself a writer or an artist or a writer-artist?
Yeah, I would. I guess I would consider myself more like a cartoonist. The only reason I say that is because that seems to be the term that most people use for people that do both. Like, people generally refer to like Jeff Smith as a cartoonist, Craig Thompson as a cartoonist, Darwin Cook as a cartoonist. So yeah, I look at myself as both. I would probably lean more towards artist than writer, because I still think that's my strength. But at the same time, I've kind of made my peace with the fact that like people seem to like really like how I write. So I'm kind of learning to accept the fact that like maybe I'm a bit better of a writer than I think I am.
That's so
but
cool.
At the same time, you never want to make any kind of assumptions.
So then I gotta ask the question: how long do you think you're gonna be doing JL8 for?
I really don't know.
Yeah.
I know that when I start to like, if I start to feel like I'm slipping, I'll stop.
Okay.
If I'm asked to stop, I'll stop. I guess I have to be realistic. Like, if better, more professional opportunities arise, as much as I like doing JL8, I'm not getting paid to do JL8. So, if like Cartoon Network hits me up and is like, hey, we'd like you to develop a show,
Oh man,
I would.
love that.
Oh yeah, that's clearly wishful thinking, but it's like that's one of those things that like I'll just have to be like, hey, I'm sorry, but I'm trying to make a, I'm still just like a up and coming, aspiring career professional.
Yeah.
So if the opportunity arises that will turn me into a career professional.
Now, I gotta ask, because I know it's not a kid's comic, but it definitely lends itself to. Do you write it for kids, or is it? Is there a certain audience you're writing it for, or is it just for you? Like, what do you write it for?
Honestly, I guess it is kind of just for me. To be totally true about it. When I started, I knew that I wanted it to at least be accessible to everybody. But at the same time, yeah, it's like, it's kind of like a Field of Dreams situation. Like, if you build it, they will come. Like, just do what you want to do, and either, like, people can smell fakeness, and they can tell, like, when you're just kind of like phoning it in or trying to like play to
Certain audience.
Yeah. So I was like, let me just make the strip that I want to make, because I'm an independent webcomic guy. Like, why the heck would I not use the opportunity? So yeah, really it's for me. But I'm thrilled to know how many people like it and are comfortable sharing it with like their kids and people that they know who don't really like comics and stuff. So yeah.
thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's good talking to you.
Good talking to you.